Welcome to Endless Stories by Manvi Sharma, where simple stories create powerful lessons. Hello everyone and welcome back. Today, I am going to share a powerful motivational story about small habits, consistency, and the journey to success. Today's story is called The Notebook That Changed His Life.
There was once a young man named Aman, and just like so many of us, he had a really big dream. He wanted to become successful. But you see, there was one major problem. Aman wanted success, but he completely lacked patience. He wanted those great results without putting in the long hours of practice. He wanted a better life, but he kept waiting around for the perfect day to begin. Every single morning he told himself with such hope, "Tomorrow, I will work harder." But tomorrow became the next day. The next day became the next week, and soon, months had passed him by.
One evening, Aman was looking at his old school friends. Some had already started their own businesses. Some had landed really good jobs. Others were out there learning new skills. And he just thought to himself, I am falling behind everyone. It's a heavy feeling, isn't it? He felt so incredibly discouraged just watching everyone else move forward while he felt completely stuck in neutral.
He opened his phone and spent another entire hour watching videos about successful people. Then he looked up at the clock. It was midnight. He had spent his whole evening just thinking about success, dreaming about it in the dark, but he had done absolutely nothing during the day to actually move closer to it. The very next morning, knowing deep down that he desperately needed a change, Aman did something unusual. He went to visit his old teacher, Mr. Sharma. He poured his heart out and told him everything. "I have dreams," Aman said, "but I just don't know why I can't achieve them." His teacher just smiled warmly at him. Then he reached into his desk and took out a small, completely empty notebook. He handed it to Aman and said, "Write one thing in this notebook every night."
Aman looked at it completely confused. One thing, he asked. What should I write? Mr. Sharma replied, Write what you did today that moved you one step closer to your dream. Aman actually laughed. Will that really change my life? He asked. The teacher just smiled and said, Try it for 100 days, then come back.
So Aman took the notebook home. That night, he opened up the very first page. He sat there and thought for a long time. Finally, he picked up his pen and wrote, "Today, I studied for 20 minutes. It was such a small step, but honestly, it was a deeply meaningful one. The next night, he wrote again. "Today, I learned 5 new English words." The third night, "Today, I practiced instead of watching television." Now, these changes were incredibly small. They were almost invisible. Nobody around him even noticed them. And to be honest, even Aman himself sometimes wondered whether they actually mattered at all. But he kept going. He continued. After 30 days, his notebook was really starting to fill up. You could literally feel the progress building. After 60 days, he had developed a solid, undeniable routine. His determination was growing stronger by the minute. And after 100 days, something truly powerful had changed. But what changed was not his job, not his income, not his circumstances. He had changed. Aman had become disciplined. He no longer waited around for a sudden burst of motivation. He simply sat down and did the work. Fast forward 1 year later. By this time, Aman had learned several valuable skills, and he found an opportunity that he previously would have been way too afraid to even look at. So he applied. But he was rejected. And for a brief moment, that old Aman returned. He felt that crushing, heavy weight of disappointment. He wanted to quit right then and there. He wanted to throw his hands up and say, maybe I'm just not good enough. But then he remembered his notebook. He went and opened it up. And as he flipped through, page after page showed hundreds of tiny victories. 20 minutes of intense study, 1 new skill mastered, 1 solid practice session, 1 really difficult day completed, 1 more attempt. Looking at all those pages, that sense of hope began to return to him. Aman slowly smiled. He realized something absolutely profound. He had already defeated the person who used to give up. So with this incredible newfound energy, he decided to try again. He spent more time improving his skills. He applied again and again. And finally, after all of that relentless, persistent effort, he received an acceptance letter for the very opportunity he had been chasing. Aman just stared at the letter in total disbelief. His eyes filled with tears. He knew in his heart that he had truly, deeply earned this victorious moment. He immediately picked up the phone and called his old teacher. "Sir," he said, "I did it."
His teacher laughed gently on the other end of the line. "Now, Aman," he said, "you did it one day at a time." That calm, endlessly encouraging response, it held the entire secret of his remarkable journey.
Aman looked over at that old notebook sitting right beside him. It was no longer empty. It was completely filled with hundreds of small, deliberate actions. You see, that notebook had never magically created success. It had simply reminded Aman that big achievements are built from small efforts repeated consistently.
Sometimes we believe success requires one huge decision, but most of the time, success begins with something much smaller. One page, 1 hour, one lesson, one attempt, one day of discipline, then another and another. You really don't have to change your entire life today. Just make one small improvement. Because small actions may look totally meaningless today, but repeated every single day, they can create a completely different future for you.
The moral of our story is so beautifully simple. Success is not built in one day. It is built through small actions repeated every day. Don't wait for the perfect moment. Start with what you can do today and keep going.
Because your small step today could become your biggest success tomorrow.
Thank you for listening to today's story. If this story inspired you, please like this video, share it with someone who needs encouragement, and subscribe to English Stories by Manvi Sharma for more simple stories with powerful lessons. Remember, small steps can create big changes. See you in the next story. But before we go, I want to leave you with this final thought. What is the one small step you will take today?